Good afternoon, Trinidad and Tobago. I'm Rishi Harinan and C News is live at noon.
And I'm Nasira Mohammed with sport.
Topping the news at this time, businessman Dr. Anthony Norman Sabga has died at age 94. He was the chairman emeritus of the Antimacal group of companies. In a statement, his son said his father's concern was always the welfare of his Ansa family. His son said funeral arrangements and special memorial service for employees of the Antimacal group celebrating the life and legacy of Dr. Anthony N. Sabga will be announced in a subsequent notice. Well, the former Minister of Trade and Industry, Vasanth Bharat, has extended his condolences on the passing of Mr. Sabga. In a statement, he said as a businessman and founder of the Antimacal group, he revolutionized the concept of conglomerate business, creating one of the largest group of companies on this side of the world. He said what set him apart was his deep passion for education and innovation among young professionals. Mr. Bharat noted the Ansa Caribbean Awards, which he founded, was his way of supporting and enhancing a national community that nurtured him. And the foundation, he said, shall indeed immortalize his memory as a man of sterling business acumen with a heart of compassion and love for the country he came to call his home. And the Trinidad and Tobago Publishers and Broadcasters Association says Dr. Sabga's vision for Antimacal culminated in the formulation of the Trinidad Publishing Company, now Guardian Media Limited, an integral member of TTPBA. GML stands today as 7 radio stations, Trinidad's oldest newspaper, and a free-to-air television station. The TTPBA said Dr. Sabga's role in transforming the media landscape has been achieved and will live on as long as we have free media in Trinidad and Tobago. Police are investigating the murder of a man at around 8:45 this morning in Maloney. The victim is yet to be identified. Reports say the body was discovered in a parking lot at Building 9 Maloney after residents reported hearing several explosions. To some other news now. In the wake of yesterday's takeover of Massey Communications by TSTT, the Public Accounts Enterprises Committee into the Telecommunications Services of Trinidad and Tobago via its chair Wade Mark wanted to know why that decision was taken.
This recent, what I call acquisition, I may be right or I might be wrong, but you will guide me, of the Massey Communications, and tell us as a committee, how does that fit into your strategic plan as a company as you look into the future in a very competitive environment?
TTT's chair Emily Elias says it was a perfect fit and a smart business decision.
So by the acquisition of Massey, which is really an operational decision we made, what we have acquired is 900 kilometers of fiber already laid in areas that we were intending to go to and had not yet done so. So the foreign exchange we saved, we estimate going forward, could be as much as $20 million US.
Yesterday, TSTT announced its purchase of Massey Communications for $255 million. This is the C News Live report at noon. Remember, you can keep up to date with all the latest news on our website at ctvtt.com, or you can check out our Facebook and the Twitter pages at C News Live. It's official, no Sachin Tendulkar for the opening of the Brian Lara Stadium. Confirmation from the Minister of Sport, Daryl Smith. He spoke with Dion Batiste this morning and explained why.
Minister of Sport Daryl Smith has confirmed that legendary cricketer Sachin Tendulkar will not be present for the official opening of the Brian Lara Cricket Academy on May 13th. Minister Smith said despite the best efforts by all involved, it just is not possible for the Indian cricketer to be here due to scheduling conflicts.
The last regime lasted there for 5 years. It was 95% completed. They went out to 70. And that 5 years, millions of dollars in equipment was stolen. So Lara wanted to take his name off of the facility and be able to proceed him to ensure that he's part of the process moving forward.
Minister Smith says the academy, which has been 13 years in the making, is the first project he was mandated by Cabinet to deliver on.
Sachin has been the person that he has said has pulled him throughout his career to be the best that he can be. And vice versa with Sachin. They are the two top cricketers for many years and going head to head and targeting each other to see who could outdo each other. And he was very proud of that relationship that they had.
The academy is the brainchild of its namesake Brian Lara, who along with then Prime Minister Patrick Manning dreamed of a school where young cricketers could be trained. Minister Smith says Sachin Tendulkar's proposed involvement in the academy was meant to pay homage to his involvement in Brian Lara's success as a cricketer.
Right, so the scheduling was very, very tight. If we didn't get him out in this month of May, it would have been later on in the year later. We couldn't wait for that.
Responding to rumors that a stand at the academy will be named by Sachin Tendulkar, the minister said no final decision has been made.
Yeah, that was just a discussion in a room. That wasn't supposed to happen anything. That was a discussion that Mr. Lara and us were having, the team, because they know that's going to be part of it, and nothing has etched in stone.
Minister Smith said citizens should not lose focus on the main issue, which according to him is the opening of the academy where young people could be trained. The minister further stated that all final plans for the May 13th opening of the academy will be revealed on Thursday. Dion Batiste, C News.
The Ministry of Education is assuring parents and students all is in place for Thursday's secondary entrance assessment examination, which will take place at 546 primary schools serving as examination centers across Trinidad and Tobago. It said this year 18,240 students are registered to write SCA, with boys numbering 9,193 and girls numbering 9,047. Schools serving as examination centers were dismissed from 11:30 a.m. today. This is to facilitate preparations for the SCA and a meeting of the test administration teams to ensure that all are in place at the centers.
The ministry said distribution and collection of SCA test booklets will take place from 4 a.m. on Thursday, May 4th, 2017. School supervisors will receive the question papers and distribute them to assessment supervisors. It said Amalgamated Security Services Limited has been contacted to transport the examination material to and from the various drop-off points in the education districts, and it has also put in place drivers in the event of any emergency. This year, 261 students will receive special concessions during the SCA in the form of extra time, bathroom breaks, provision for a writer or reader, sign language interpreter, preferential seating, large print or braille scripts, and breaks to take medication. The ministry explained special concessions are granted to students with hearing, visual, health or physical impairments, learning disabilities, borderline intellectual or functioning intellectual disability, attention deficit or hyperactivity disorder, autism spectrum disorder, global development delay or emotional behavioral difficulties.
Can the government take your property if you don't pay property tax? And when can they do so? These questions were among others which were asked and addressed on Talk City 91.1 FM this morning as the discussions continued on the program Property Tax, Your Questions Answered.
Many people have raised concern about the property tax law and if government can seize your property if tax isn't paid. Senior spoke with attorney at law Colvin Blaze on the matter, and he explained this can be done but only after a period of time.
If you haven't paid it by September, it will then start, it will attract a penalty of 10%, and thereafter 15% interest. If you owe for 1 year or more, that's a debt that attaches to your property. If you own for 5 years, the state could actually come in and forfeit your property.
So what does this really mean?
If it's for 1 year and more, it attracts 10% penalty and 15% interest. And that particular, and the state could actually come in, they could seize goods, they could distress. It's a charge against the land itself. And after the 5th year, the state could forfeit the land totally.
What about retroactive payments for land you may not have paid taxes on? Well, the valuation surveyor Esric Huggins explains that the retroactive payments will only be made if the land was on the valuation roll. If not, no payment is required.
Once you get the paper title into your hand, you then proceed to put it onto the roll. So in the first instance, it would have been left out of the roll, and as the process has completed, then it would be added onto the roll. In that case, you can be assessed from the year before and present.
The process for the implementation of property taxes started, and the Ministry of Finance has asked all to submit their completed valuation return form by May 22, 2017. Failure to do so can see a person be fined $500.
Well, you can join Talk City 91.1 FM from 8:05 a.m. tomorrow and for the rest of the week as we continue to answer questions about property tax. Minister of Finance Carl Mimbert has again said the property tax is fair. Speaking at a public meeting last night, he said the working class and lower income homeowners do not have to worry.
The man with the shopping mall, he will pay $3 million a year in property tax. The guy in River Estate with the little house, he will pay $1,000 a year. And the man in Goodwood Park will pay $6,000 per year.
He said according to the law, valuation rules which give the value of the property must be made public.
In the same way, I could go into the register of properties in Fort Lauderdale, go on the internet and search, and I will find in Fort Lauderdale Prakash Ramadar property. We have to start doing that in Trinidad and Tobago. That is what the law requires to be done. Too many people in this country getting away with not paying taxes.
Some other news now, and $48 million is being sought by the Ministry of Health from the Inter-American Development Bank to help with fighting non-communicable diseases. Minister of Health Terence Dialsing said it will be used over a 5-year period. He gave a breakdown on how the money will be used.
1, reduction of risk factors, so diabetes, hypertension, cholesterol. Getting people to adopt a different lifestyle. So education is going to be a significant component, which includes behavior change and modification, like what I spoke about. People must not wake up in the morning, take their sugar pill, take their hypertension pill, and then sit down for the rest of the day. We have to get the country moving.
He said a significant part of the money would be used to bring in a gym equipment to be placed at strategic locations across the country.
A significant part of the loan is going to be retraining and re-equipping our primary health response. So we want to take our population away from secondary hospitals and tertiary hospitals and put them back into their community settings. So the health centers and what North Central is doing, treating people in their homes. So that is all part of the project.
The Office of the Prime Minister, Gender and Child Affairs has launched the PTSC Anti-Child Abuse Bus Branding Campaign. The 9 buses have been wrapped with murals painted by students at their schools to promote critical messages and emergency contact information on a national level for victims, perpetrators and would-be perpetrators, onlookers and those with knowledge of abuse. In a statement, the ministry said, according to statistics obtained by the PTSC, over 100,000 passengers across the country utilize the bus service daily, thus providing a wide cross-section of persons who will interact with the messages. Minister Ayanna Webster Roy revealed government's plan to partner with PTSC to provide special training for bus drivers to recognize signs of abuse and assist in its prevention and reporting. Well, it's now time for sport with Nasira Mohammed. And Nasira, West Indies against Pakistan. West Indies not doing so bad.
They're not doing so bad, but they're currently in a very precarious position where it's survival of the fittest for the next day and 3 quarters or so as they try to win or draw the second test over in Barbados. I'll give details on that and much more when we come back. The Trinidad and Tobago under-15 boys footballers came back from 2-0 down to draw level with Manchester City under-15s at the Cayman Airways Invitational Under-15 Cup being played in the Cayman Islands. The national youngsters next play on Thursday against Houston Dynamo's under-15s. And Michael Phillips has stepped down as chairman of the Sport Company of Trinidad and Tobago with immediate effect. Without giving details, Phillips, who was appointed to the post in December of 2015, said in a release that he was proud to be able to make a contribution to the sporting landscape here in Trinidad and Tobago in his capacity as chairman of Sport TT. He also thanked the Prime Minister, Corporation Seoul, and the Minister of Sport for having the confidence in him to lead the organization. He added that regrettably, I have found the requirements and time needed to effectively remain as chairman being more than I am able to extend at this time. The former national sprint champion said that he will continue to be engaged in the community programs and activities that he has started in his personal capacity and is willing to assist wherever possible to create a vibrant sporting industry here in Trinidad and Tobago. And action in the Trinidad and Tobago Volleyball Federation's league continued with action in the various divisions of the competition. Ken Fuentes takes us through women's game featuring the University of Trinidad and Tobago and the Trinidad and Tobago Defence Force. And in the men's division, Central Warriors came up against the guys from Police.
UTT faced the Army girls and they were in dominant form from the start, winning the point of the serve to assert their authority early. The Defence Force would have no answer of significance as the UTT ladies' return game was too much for them to handle. They continued their dominance of the Army girls, and when the Army hit into the net, UTT would come away straight set winners, 25-11, 25-12, 25-13. Police then came up against Central Warriors in the men's division, and it was the Central Warriors who won the board early. But the Lawmen's net blocking brought them back into the game. But the soft touch caught the Central players off guard. Again, their blocking came to their rescue as they kept the game close with Central Warriors. However, Central would fight back to ensure that they gave Police a fight. Fast forward to the final set and Police within range to send the game to a third set. However, they would lose with this one in a close encounter in 2 sets, 25-16, 25-22. Kent Fuentes, C-Sports.
Well, to the golf course now, and Coker College men's golf team finished second at the 2017 South Atlantic Conference Men's Golf Championship Tournament, while Trinidad and Tobago sophomore Wanju Lee won the individual title. Lee, who shot back-to-back rounds of 1 under par, won the 2017 South Atlantic Conference individual title by 2 strokes to continue his fine form this season as he seeks All-American honors. Wanju, who has been a member of both TNT's junior and senior teams for the last 6 years, has been putting in a lot of hard work on the golf course and is now beginning to see the fruits of his labors. The Cobras shot a combined 141 in round 2 and ended up tied with Carson Newman University, who eventually went on to win the playoff. And that's it for sport for today.
Well, that's how we end the C News Report at noon. I'm Rishi Harinanan.
And I'm Nasir Mohammed.
Remember, for up-to-date and breaking news throughout the day, visit the C News website at ctvtt.com. Have a good afternoon.